We'll take a couple more questions and then do one-on-ones. Yes.
I really think that abortion could end by Canada Day next year. And I don't think it's going to take 18 years, because today we are a lot more educated of a people, and we're a lot more social conscious with so many other things. We just don't know this is there. I just wanted to
Sure, we'll let Jonathan comment on that. Thank you.
That's fantastic. The more people that feel compelled to come out and stand up to the politicians and talk about abortion, the better. But the thing is, the pro-life movement, we have to be very careful that we don't give everybody an opportunity to just wait us out for a day. Right? We have to be in the streets every day. No social reform movement has ever accomplished great change without saturating the culture first. So it's amazing and it's awesome when tons of people come out. It's really rallying and it's real pump up. But it should be rallying us up for the other 364 days of the year when we're taking on abortion in our own towns and on the streets. So that's basically all I would say. That it's a great encouragement, but it should be encouraging us to push forward and make sure that we take this home with us when we leave Ottawa.
Yeah, can you guys expand with what you guys are doing politically? That our Prime Minister said he's not going to reopen the abortion debate.
Sure, so in terms of what we're doing politically, because the Prime Minister said he's not going to reopen the abortion debate, well, we actually aren't a political organization, we're an educational one, but we partner with groups sometimes like the National Campus Life Network or Campaign Life Coalition or We Need a Law when they're doing other kinds of work. So if you look at the political arm of the pro-life movement, that's where you have groups like Campaign Life or We Need a Law, and they're certainly implementing strategies to try to reopen the debate independent of what the Prime Minister says. And certainly we would encourage you, as some of you have the business card from We Need a Law, to look into those strategies. We will try to have the long-term influence by creating that swell of a public opinion shift so there can be that public policy change. Okay, go ahead in the back.
I wonder if you could comment on media coverage besides the kickoff of Vancouver. I haven't seen anything in the mainstream media. Maybe I haven't been watching enough, but are you happy with the media coverage?
If you look at our media list on our website, actually, we've been covered by the CBC 7 times. Vancouver didn't cover us while we were there, but then CBC Kelowna broke down and covered us. They had to retroactively cover us a couple of days later. Since then, the only town we have not gotten media coverage in is Edmonton. Every other town, a lot of people have been coming out. A lot of newspapers have covered us, and we've got some really great coverage. We would keep in mind, too, that our projects are designed to circumvent the media in regards to the fact that we don't need them because our projects are so big that we don't necessarily have to have them. Another theory that I really believe in that a lot of people have been saying is, I don't know how many of you saw our launch footage and you see the protesters outside, is when the media shows up, they always want to try catch the pro-lifers off guard. It's very hard to make the people outside look good when they're blocking vehicles. Their signs have all sorts of profanity on them, and their reaction to truth and logic and argument is to take their clothes off or something like that, which they've done at a few locations. So the media wants to come up and show that there's a controversy going on, there's a debate, here's one side, here's the other side. It's very difficult for them to show up and say, well, these people say abortion's a human rights violation for these reasons, and these people swore and took their clothes off. Right? That just doesn't really make the story that they want to show. So that's one of the reasons that the media hasn't been showing up all the time.
Sun TV showed up quite a bit.
I was just wondering, do y'all have any good news for us? Like, when you talk about public opinion shift, like, have you seen any opinion polls that are showing that, public opinion is actually starting to change in Canada since, say, you started this movement, or since CCBR in general has been operating?
Good question. So have we seen public opinion shifts since we've been operating? We've been operating for 10 years, but our time of pivotal growth was 2010 when we started taking on interns and we were able to do on a larger scale the things we were doing on a small scale. So we've yet, but are about to start doing the polling that you're speaking of in the cities where we are, like Calgary, like the communities we're going to, and having polls specifically designed around questions about, have you seen pictures, what's your opinion on abortion related to the images. However, I will say there are some promising public opinion polls with regards to late-term abortion giving proof that we have grounds to get the government to create a law right now, because currently a majority of Canadians do not support the status quo. They oppose late-term abortion, and therefore we could get a law that bans late-term abortion just based on public opinion there alone, and then continue to chip away until we get total abolition.
Yeah, that's essentially what I would say too, but when we look at the United States especially, we see how public opinion has shifted. As Stephanie mentioned, we've really only started exploding in growth in about the last 3 years. But in the United States, the polls are showing that since CBR's project started hitting campuses, public opinion has been changing because whole generations of university students are shifting their views. And slowly but surely, every single year the poll is taken, more Americans are pro-life. And essentially, many of them believe that all they have to do is get rid of Roe v. Wade before the trigger laws will take effect, and they can start the long work of gathering the number of states they need to draft the personhood amendment. So we have seen this work in the past, and now we just need your guys' help to make sure that this thing gets twice as big as it is now, and more and more and more. And I think you get where I'm going with this.
And just for the sake of time, we'll be able to take just one more question, but we can speak to people one-on-one later.
Stephanie, what are your plans to bring this across the river in Quebec and put this in French?
Good question. So what are our plans for Quebec? Well, we all know that the uniqueness of Quebec, I think, would make Quebecers much more receptive to social reformers from Quebec, rather than outsiders coming in. And so we have certainly offered our strategy and resources to groups like Campaign Life Coalition in Quebec, and are happy to work with Quebecers to take our literature and translate it and implement a strategy within Quebec, but we firmly believe it needs to happen amongst Quebecers and from Quebecers. Okay, thank you. We'll let Ruth take over.
Our presentation portion of the evening to a close. Just before we move on, just a few things. I want to encourage you once again to leave your contact cards and your credit card forms in the basket that are on the back table. I want to also encourage you to chat with our staff members that can be identified with name tags. And also, some people have been expressing concern about if they parked on the street outside, if they might be ticketed because they couldn't get into the parking lot. And if you are ticketed, I would encourage you to please contact us and let us know so that we can follow up with the police and complain on your behalf and get that ball rolling. So please contact us if that did happen to you. So before we close, we have something that we'd like to show you. So Stephanie mentioned that the old caravan traveled across Canada and visited 24 Sussex at the end of their tour. And yesterday, we actually did the same thing. We visited 24 Sussex and we showed Stephen Harper exactly what we have been tolerating in this country by permitting abortion. And we would like to, we're actually releasing the video tomorrow, but we would like to share with you a sneak peek of the video this evening as we are at the close of our caravan and as part of the grand finale. So this video is very powerful of showing exactly what our country has tolerated and what our government has allowed to run rampant in this country for many, many years.
Stop killing our generation.
Two quotes that John F. Kennedy once posed to an audience. If not us, then who? And if not now, then when? Thank you all so much for coming tonight.